Hi guys, welcome back to this space, welcome back to this environment. If you're new, welcome. My name is V, and in this video we're gonna talk about I have something very exciting. In this video I will be talking about my beautiful baby, my ebook, Celibacy, Initiation of a Goddess. I am so excited for this ebook. I am so freaking excited for this, like y'all do not understand. So I will be launching my ebook in regards to celibacy, and I am super excited for this ebook. I wrote this ebook a couple of months ago. I felt like I channeled it. It was an ebook that just came through me, and while I was writing it, I was also reviewing all my journal prompts, all the journaling that I did during my first few years of celibacy. And based on that, just one day I I wrote it all out, and I was like, let's give this beautiful gift to the world. So my ebook, Celibacy, Initiation of a Goddess, will be launching today on the.with.v.store. I am so fucking excited. Like, this is so amazing. This is so freaking amazing. And the ebook will be available for purchase for everyone. And it's not only an ebook about celibacy, it's an ebook about the journey within. So I also want to quickly say that this ebook isn't only for people that want to practice celibacy or want to learn about my personal journey with celibacy, but it's for anyone who wants to take that journey within, for their sensuality or for their sexuality, or just to review their relationship with their body. And that is a little bit what this ebook is all about. In this ebook I will be having my personal story of how celibacy has been for me and the things that I've struggled with during this journey. And also I have journal prompts that can help you stay focused within your celibacy journey, and also just journal prompts for self-activation, initiation of that journey within. So this ebook is available for anyone and everybody that wants to take that journey within their sensuality, within their relationship with their body, within their relationship with their sexuality, and all of these wonderful juicy things. So I have a celibacy practice in this ebook, my personal story of struggles and things that I've went through during this journey, and also I have like 2 different journal prompts that can help you stay motivated during this practice. If you decide to practice them, you don't have to. Even if you don't want to practice it, I consider these journal prompts really good questions for you to take that journey within and take that initiation and step within yourself. So I hope you guys enjoy this ebook as much as I enjoy writing it. It was really wonderful just sitting back and reading throughout my journal and my journal prompts and the answers and all of the things that I was just going through. Like, it is so beautiful. And maybe you've already saw my previous video celebrating my 4-year celibacy. In that video I talk about the different phases that I went through, and in this celibacy journey I will be actually talking about that. So I will be having numerous videos uploaded every week in regards of my celibacy journey and talking about each phase, journal prompts that I did on each phase, what was I working on during those phases, and juicy things like that. So I hope you guys really enjoy the celibacy ebook as much as I enjoy just creating it and sharing it with you guys. And I also have a special gift. I have a discount code, a 50% discount code for my YouTubers, for my familia. And this discount is subscriber for L. If you use this discount at the checkout, you will get a 50% discount on the order. So that's very exciting, and that is my gift for you guys because I just love this. I love it. And I just want to make this accessible for anyone that's just interested about learning about celibacy, or just interested in these journal prompts that I did during my celibacy journey. I think that these journal prompts are prompts that really saved me and helped me stay disciplined during this journey, because that is one of the main struggles that I had, is staying disciplined, of abstinating from physical interaction or so emotional interaction, and break this pattern of being addicted to validation. So that is another interesting topic that I will be talking about in this journey of my celibacy journey. Without any further ado, guys, the ebook will be available on November 11. I am so excited. On November 11, it will be available on twithv.store, and you can check out my Instagram, twithv, and there you can also have the access of buying the ebook. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did buy it, please let me know any feedback. How are these journal prompts helpful, or just if you ever practiced celibacy and how did you practice it? So guys, without any further ado, let's just jump into this video. So in this video, I will be talking about my lifestyle prior to celibacy and what initiated me into this journey. Before I say anything else, I just want to quickly say I didn't know what celibacy was all about. I never heard or knew about celibacy. Recently, while after writing this ebook and just doing a little research online, I found out that there's different ways to practice celibacy, and I also found out that it can be from a religious practice and all of these things. So I just want to say that the way I practice celibacy, how I feel like, I don't even know how to say, because it's just something that came to me in a dream, and I just knew that God told me, like, okay, you have to be abstinent from physical intimacy, and you have to be abstinent from emotional intimacy, and just take time with your emotions. That was the only thing I knew. Like 2 years in, I heard about this word celibacy, and then I realized that I'm actually a celibate, because I'm not practicing intimacy on any level. So I just want to make that very clear for anyone and anybody. So I'm just practicing celibacy the way that I feel like is working for me. So prior to my celibacy, my lifestyle was pretty much, I was very much in the dark feminine energy. I was operating out of that dark feminine energy, and it all started at a very young age. I think around 15, when I got heartbroken by my boyfriend, puppy love, at that time. And I remember, like, of course I already had insecurities. I already had, you know, things that, you know, you're in your teenage years, you feel confused, you're going through different relationships with people, with friendships, you start feeling this type of new level of attraction to men, you know, all of these things. And you know, that's when the hormones start to go up. And my hormones were up, baby, up. And I remember that I felt so in love with him, and I just really loved him so much. I still do now as a friend, but back then I was just so in love with him. And you know, I was such in this puppy love world, and he would buy me gifts and bring me flowers, and I was like in it, right? Until I was I was going to school and I noticed that girls were looking at me funny. I felt like I was being mocked, but I didn't give it any attention. I thought maybe because of my skin color, because I had a lot of bullying experiences and stuff like that, so I didn't give it much thought until I found out that the main reason that these other girls were laughing at me were because my puppy love boyfriend was cheating on me at the time. Girl, how that single moment of hurt changed my relationship with men. And of course there's much more things that influence this, but for the sake of this video, I know for sure, like, for the sake of this video, we're just gonna talk about this puppy love because he had the most impact on me stepping into this dark feminine energy fully. And I remember I felt so hurt, I felt mocked, I felt like a clown, I felt like they were making fun of me. And I hated that feeling. I hated feeling like, you know, I was already struggling with my insecurities and feeling like I'm not enough and all these things, you know, all these teenage struggles. And then, you know, he having the boyfriend or the relationship, he was like my only like thing to look forward to, you know, and he destroyed that. So I felt like I was just disappointed. And I remember making this vow to myself that I would never allow a man to ever hurt me like that, and that from now on any relationship I had with a man will be beneficial. And boy, did that work out in my favor. But it also had its perks, its disadvantages. And so ever since then, I really remember, like, I stayed with him even when he was cheating because I was vengeful, honey. I wanted revenge. I wanted to make him suffer. And I remember the only way that I can do that is if I stay with him and I plot a plan. So that's exactly what I did. And ever since then, my relationship with all men changed. Like, I had numerous friendships, male friendships, where I would lead them on, make them think that someday there's like this possible chance of us, you know, sleeping together or like even kissing or whatever. And even though I knew that was never my intention, I was just leading them on to get the things that I could from them. And I remember I just had a relationship with men that would benefit me. Literally all of the male friendships were literally friendships that they were either benefiting me by their knowledge, by their connection, by what they can do for me, how smart they are, people they know, all of these things. And later on, when I started partying and going out and all of these things, honey, I created the best relationship with the security guard, the bouncer, the bartender, the manager of the club, all of those people, because through that I would have access to the clubs, access to the party, like, you know, better treatment, free drinks. Honey, I was about that life. And slowly I also had other, like, with my friends, we also like created like these bus trips, party, and all of these things. So slowly I started cultivating relationship with men that will only benefit me. Like, I will be friends with the nerds, I will be friends with the geeks, I will be friends with the fashion people, I will be friends with every group that were at school, just for the benefit of their connection. That is how I thrive with male relationships. And of course, growing up a little bit older, stepping more into the game, I started dating older men. I started dating older men, and that is really when I started thriving, when I stepped a little bit into what is now known as the sugar baby world. So honey, I had a relationship with a guy who was like 7 years older with me. I had a relationship with one of the GMs of Marriott. I had a relationship with men that were working as supervisor of of Hyatt and all of these places, because at the end, you know, and you know what's the thing, I love flirting, and I would flirt the fuck out of them, you know, just to make them feel good, brush their ego, whatever, to get whatever it is that I wanted. And I later was like in a relationship with a few sugar daddies and stuff like that. So every relationship in my life was like that, and it wasn't a healthy way to have a relationship. It was really not, because there was a lot of toxic patterns, and also it became very a transactional relationship. Even though I tried to stay as genuine as possible, but I had this core belief of like only having a relationship with men that benefit me. And this was also influential of the telenovelas that I was watching at the time, like Ruby and Teresa, and also just the whole feminine boss woman mentality that started developing during those times. Another thing that influenced me is like watching my mom and my stepmom and just parts of my family member, how they would be like this, how they would use their like their seduction power to get what they want. And so I started tapping more into those things. And to make a long story short, I eventually became this dark feminine, cold seductress, sexy, mysterious woman. And the thing is, I had multiple relationships. Of course, not all of them I was having physical intimacy with them, but I was entertaining multiple people at the time. And as teenage, as you sleep with people and you do things, you start to forming emotional connection, and I didn't want to have any emotional connection with these men. So what I did was like have multiple relationships so that I wouldn't become emotionally attached to these men. And that is when the unhealthy shadow side of the dark feminine started to grow. And slowly I was partying every weekend. I was drinking alcohol, I was smoking, I was in a very toxic cycle, and so toxic and draining. And don't get it twisted, because the thing is, it was toxic and draining, but I was still really having fun, and I didn't see it as something bad, because at the time my life was just doing very well. I was very successful at my job, school was doing very good. I just finished a degree or whatever, so I just graduated, and you know, all of these things. So life was pretty good. So because life was good, it was so easy for me to have this excuse of like, you know, I may be toxic, I may have all of these bad habits, whatever, but it's fine, because you know, on the other side of things, it's going very well. But the reality is, I was suppressing a lot of my emotions because I didn't want to feel for these men. I was just pressing my emotions down, and by pressing my emotions down, it automatically created these toxic habits. So that was my lifestyle a little bit prior to celibacy journey. And during the last 2 years of my life on that island is when it got really bad, because I was so successful, I was doing amazing, but I felt unhappy. I was so unhappy inside. I felt empty, and I was overwhelmed by all of the suppressed emotions I had. And I would easily distract myself with parties, with drugs, with alcohol, but it became to a point that not even that helped anymore. So a few months before me moving to Europe, I had this dream, and it was a dream of me saying that when I move to Europe, I have to abstinent from physical intimacy, and focus on my emotions, focus on my inner well-being, because the truth of the fact is my life was amazing, but my inner self was destroyed, demolished, gone, like bad. And I remember I had this dream, and I just remember like, okay, like the dream was like almost a sign. It was a sign. Okay, it was a sign for me in the sense of like, okay, if you want to move to Europe, you want to create this life for yourself, it was like God making this business deal with me and saying, you can do that, but only with this condition of being celibate and working on your emotional well-being. And I was like, okay. And honey, 2 weeks before moving is when I found a place to stay, because prior to that I didn't have a place to stay, and everything was done. I sold the car, I sold everything, like honey, it was okay, and I was just ready to move, but I didn't have a place. And I remember like one day riding in my car before selling it, you know, like having those last few moments. I went to this place in Aruba that is very popular. They have like huge houses in the north, and I just remember driving over there. I really loved being in that environment because it was so rich, it was so resourceful, like expensive cars, beautiful big houses. And I know it was just an expensive place to have a house because it was close by the beach, so you know, more maintenance and all of these things. And I remember just driving in the car, and I remember looking at the moon, because that's what I really loved about being on the island. You're so close to the stars and the moon. And I just said, okay God, I'm gonna do this, whatever it takes, I'm gonna do it. And then I moved here and I started my journey. Little did I know what I was getting myself into. In the first few 6 months of my celibacy journey, I moved here in July, and in July. So my celibacy journey officially started in August, because in July I still had some hunger. But in August is when I really started my celibacy journey, and honey, boy was that difficult. The first thing the first thing I really struggled with was attention. I was entertaining multiple people at the time, so I got used to always having attention, always flirting with someone, always having someone to talk with, always having someone like chasing me, or someone like being there for me. And of course, when I decided to start my journey, I blocked all of the men that I was entertaining. I blocked them from everywhere. I blocked them from social media. I changed my phone number. You know, I removed all the possibilities of them getting back into my life via text or social media or whatever. So I first removed that, and in 2 weeks of doing that, I was already scrolling on my unblocking list, because I really missed that attention. And that is when I start to noticing, you know, that this is not going to be an easy journey. And I was just craving to having someone to talk with, which is normal as humans, but it wasn't about having someone to talk with, because I have my friends, I have my family, but just having that male attention. That is what it was all about. And as the months flew over, I was just also struggling with when seeing like their socials. Like I would unblock them just to see their socials, and then I would start texting them, and then I would feel like, Viviana, what are you doing? You know, this is not right. And during those moments, or during those times that I felt like I've fallen for the temptation, that is when the journaling started. So I started journaling because I would do these things, that I would unblock them and I would start, you know, texting them, or I will unblock them and see their stories, see what they're up to, you know, like stalk them. And later on, when I got into it, you know, when I was like texting them, or I was like, you know, getting excited just by viewing their story or whatever, I was like, what are you doing? You know, this like this moment came back to me of like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. And I felt like I was struggling. I felt disappointed because I felt like, okay, I really don't want to do this, but I want to do it. So I had this like duplicity, and that's when I started journaling. And during that phase, I also noticed that I didn't have any structure. So I would like block them back and then stop talking with them and be like, okay, I'm gonna focus back on my abstinent, on not talking with people, and just focus on my emotions or whatever. But I didn't have anything to help me stay in that phase. Like, of course I was thinking and remembering about that dream and that whatever, but it wasn't enough for me. So I had to create like this purpose, like a reason to do this. And that is when the journaling started. And that's when I started journaling on like, why am I doing this? So what is my goal with being abstinent? What is the purpose of this journey? And during those times is when I created the journal prompts for myself. And because of those journal prompts, it really saved me from moments of me wanting to give up being celibacy and just go back to the lifestyle that I was living. And through all those prompts, one of the things that really came up for me was validation. I realized that I was constantly seeking validation. It wasn't for the tension, it wasn't for the feeling of having someone there. It was about the need of feeling validated, the need of feeling like I matter because there is someone in my life. I matter because I have a boyfriend. I matter because I'm in a relationship. And when that was in the first few 6 months, that really came up for me, that I wasn't addicted to the attention. It wasn't about the physical thing. It was about validating myself externally. And I noticed that I was doing all of those things for validation. And not only for validation, of course, for the benefits or because I was having something in exchange for it, but it was internally, it was for validation. And throughout creating these journal prompts, it really helped me to stay focused on my journey and why I'm doing this, the purpose or the reason for why I'm doing this. Because it was very easy for me to get caught up in, you know, wanting to be in a relationship, or wanting to just give myself the excuse of like, oh, it's just one text, it was just a conversation, nothing serious, or, you know, just being bored and wanting to flirt with them, and then that's it. You know, like I was struggling with that. Like I was really having those moments. And then I would notice myself. I would notice that as soon as we were talking and he was boosting my ego and I was like feeling validated, I would notice like, okay, that's it. And then I wouldn't care. And that is when I was like, oh wow, there is something deeper here. There is something deeper here, baby. Because it wasn't even just by talking with them and feeling good. It was just to calm that ache of wanting to feel important, or wanting to feel like you matter or something, you know. So some truths coming out, baby. So that is when I created the journal prompts that will be available in this wonderful ebook. And throughout those journal prompts, I was journaling deep on these questions, and I was also I would go as deep as I could. Like after answering one of these questions, I would like reread it later and feel like, okay, where does this come from? Why? What memory do I have that created this in me? Girl, and when I started going that deep is when the true transformation started off the celibacy journey, because then I started noticing the addictive patterns, the toxic patterns, the patterns of validation, externalizing my value, people pleasing, the insecurities and the doubt that I had going on that was pushing me. And not only that, but all the emotions that I had suppressed. And a lot of these emotions that I had suppressed were like anger, resentment, disappointment, sadness, not feeling enough, like all of these things. And I let those emotions be my motivating factor to become successful. But later on, it wasn't, it started working against me. So that was like my first few months into celibacy, and just what got me into this journey of celibacy. And in my next video I will be talking about that first year, and I'll go a little bit more in depth of the struggles that I've been talking about, and just the people pleasing, validation, and all of these things that I had to work through. But most importantly, the toxic pattern, and breaking the toxic patterns and cycles and the conditions and the belief systems. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll be able to purchase this new wonderful ebook that I'm so excited. Don't forget to use the discount code subscriber for life, and this ebook will be available on twithv.store. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.